What is going on YouTube? So this is a different change of pace for me. I've never really done a screen recording of a Windows application before that's not a video game, so bear with me. Basically what this video is going to be about is getting the 6L90 transmissions to auto-shift or upshift automatically into the next gear when the car is put into manual mode. And basically the factory settings on those cars allow users to use either the gear shifter or the paddle shifters on the steering wheel to manually downshift or upshift. But in this case, we're just going to focus on downshifting only into a preferred gear. So let's say you're on the interstate in 6th gear cruising, somebody lines up beside you, you want to do a 40 mph roll race, you can put it in manual mode and downshift all the way to 2nd gear. But what's going to happen in the factory tune, you're going to be stuck in that 2nd gear. So as soon as you floor it, the car is going to go through up the RPMs and hit redline and bounce off the rev limiter until you physically hit the upshift button on either the paddle shifter or the gear selector itself. So there's a huge delay, so if you're eyeballing the tach and it's starting to climb up there to the red line and then you input it, usually the delay is so significant that the car will bounce off the rev limiter anyway and pretty much just kind of hang in that gear for a split second before it commands the next shift. So that can screw you out of a race, and it's just really bad on the car to bounce off rev limiter. So what we're going to do is avoid that entirely. So what we're going to do is have the car manually shift to 2nd gear the way we want it to, but this time at redline, instead of having to put any user input yourself, the car is going to automatically shift into the next gear. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This is my table that I'm currently using on my specific car right now, and before I go into detail about this table right here, I'm going to show you guys exactly how your file is going to look as soon as you upload it from your car onto HPTuners. So over here on the left, the tab I'm moving now is, let's just pretend this is a fresh tune that you pulled out of your car. It's the original tune that came off my car before I modified it myself. Anyways, once you get the tune uploaded, we're dealing specifically with the trans only, so it's this tab up top up here. It's highlighted in blue now. And then once you get the trans table or the trans menu pulled up, you want to go to your shift scheduling tables. And these tables that we're going to work with are in this left column right here, and we're just dealing with part throttle shifts right now. So here's our normal shift points, which we're going to use this as a template when we start to adjust the tap up and tap down tables, which is basically the manual mode. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to open up the normal tap up, tap down table here. As you can see, here's a comparison between the original factory tune and my tune on the transmissions. And as you can see here, first to second, second to third, and third to fourth shifts command the next shift at 313 miles per hour, which is physically impossible. So that is why the car will stay locked into that gear. So basically over here on my table in the left here, you can see that I have the second to third shifts command at 53 miles per hour at 87% throttle position, which means 80% throttle position is almost wide open throttle. It's the pedal almost put to the floor. That is my personal preference. I want it set at 87%, but let's say that you don't want that. You want it to command the next shift at 100%, which is pedal to the metal, wide open throttle. So that way there's no variation between how far you have the pedal down. That's just completely maxed out. Then you would adjust these values to 100% throttle position. So basically what I'm going to do is show you how to copy my table that I have over there on the right. And again, it's all preference. So I'm going to have this table right here command at 87% throttle position, which means again almost 90% of full throttle. The car is going to command the next shift. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our 87 to 100 values right here in the normal part throttle shift table. So 87 to 100, these lime green bars right here, want to select these. Well, we don't even really need to select them, but the mile per hour target is 29 miles per hour for the commanded shift. So we're just going to go here and we're going to put in those values, 29 miles per hour. So now basically that's mimicking how the car would normally shift from first to second. So that way now it's going to command that shift whenever the throttle position's at 87% and at least 29 miles per hour. So it's basically that easy. So we're going to close this out. We're going to go back to normal. We're going to look at our second to third shift at 87%, which is 58 across the board here. So we're going to go back to normal. Here's our second to third. And we're going to put that value, 58. And now we're done with the second to third. We're going to go back to normal and look at our third to fourth. And those values are 93. So we'll go back to our tap up, tap down. And we're going to adjust those values. And again, like I said, if you want yours at 100% throttle position, then you would leave these 87, 94 boxes alone. You'd leave them at 313. Or if you want to command the shift earlier at like 75%, then you just go back and correlate the 75% values with the tap up and tap down values. It's actually really, really easy. It's not that complicated. And the cool thing about HPTuners is once you modify a table, it's going to highlight it. So now we're done with our normal tables. Now we're going to look at our part throttle shift and fifth. So this is our fourth to fifth shift, and 126 is the value here. So I'm going to open this, put 126 right here. Okay, that's done. Sixth. The values are a little bit different between each mile per hour here, or throttle position. So we have 154, which we can just leave it at 154. We don't have to put the other values. So we can just start off here, 154, and just put that throughout because the shift's going to command 154 miles per hour. But at this rate, the race will probably be over with. You shouldn't be shifting from fifth to sixth anyway. But just in case, those values are just consistent throughout. So again, if you open up this table, it's going to look like mine over here, all except how I want my first gear to remain locked in first gear for burnouts and stuff. So I do not want the car prematurely shifting from first to second when I'm doing a burnout, say at a drag strip or something. So again, if you want to do that yourself, just go back to your table and put in 313 as the total value all the way across. And to make it a surefire thing, the car will not shift into second gear. You can go to your full throttle shift RPMs, and you can adjust RPM to something the car physically can't hit, like 9,000 RPMs. So say you definitely don't want first gear to shift into second, you can set your RPMs to 9,000 because the car is never going to hit that, and the car is never going to hit 313 miles per hour. So basically, that's what you do there if you want to lock first gear for burnouts and then have your other gears follow suit into auto upshifting for you. So yeah, basically, I've done a lot of research, and trans tuning is like $600, and I thought that was outrageous just to have somebody get in here and do what I just done. And I figured I would show you guys how to do it yourself. That way you can save $600, and it kind of gives you that, cool do-it-yourself feel. That like, hey, I've tuned the transmission myself, even though you really didn't get that in depth with it. But there's a really cool tool called a Blue Cat Trans Tool. It's a calculator that you can use for your car's horsepower rating, and you can adjust. It makes tables for you. It pre-calculates everything. So like all these tables right here, it does every single one of them: part throttle, full throttle, and full throttle shift, RPM, and speeds. it'll make those for you, and you just copy and paste them. Definitely check that out. Uh, let's see, and another guy that really helped me out was Horsepower Factory. His video, he pretty much showed me the steps, you know, of how to do everything. And you can see I have all these tabs up here. Let's see this tab right here on the CTS-V forum. This guy basically describes exactly what I just done. You know, there's no videos on YouTube about this, so I figured I'd go ahead and knock it out. But what this guy's doing, he had his set the shift at 25%, and I guess he didn't like it, so he bumped his all the way up to 75 or 69. But anyway, the way I have mine set works perfect for my application. Like I said, first gear will stay in first gear, but if I'm in second gear and like at 40 miles per hour and I race somebody in fourth, I don't have to worry about anything. My car is going to automatically upshift into third gear and then third gear to fourth. So basically that's what that is. So you can cut out the stupid tap tap, which means like if you're going to roll race, you select a gear, then as soon as you floor it, you shift back into touring, or then you shift back into sport mode, which is just, it's a headache, and sometimes it's not efficient either. But I wanted to avoid all that. I just want to be able to select my gear, floor it, and just focus on the road basically. So yeah, anyways, this is totally improvised, but I hope that I got the basics out there for you, and hope this video can help you guys out and save you some money. And I mean, this is perfectly safe. It's not like we disable torque management. You're not going to go outside and blow your transmission up, I can promise you that. All you're doing is just activating auto-upshift in manual mode. So yeah, everything else on here you don't touch. Just the tables I showed you and the shift scheduling tab is the only one you really open up, and that's it. So yeah, thanks for watching.